Jorge Alessandri, 1964, he created a commission for integral planning of education. He made studies of new school system structure that remedy deficiencies and facilitate the expansion and improvement of educational service. Also, studies for administrative decentralization and a greater degree of participation of the sector of the community in favor of communication. Plans for improvement and extension the school service with quantity and quality goals. Draft that create national aids for scholarship and national planned school building. Eduardo Frei Montalva, 1960. He created an inclusive educational reform that is inclusive, solidarity, and of extreme quality. He also, through the state provision address, it is ordered to acquire laboratories, machines, equipment, gyms, textbooks, and transport vehicles. It progressed from 6 years to 8 years in the basic education cycle. Salvador Allende, 1973. Government provide students basic education, breakfast, lunch, medical assistance, clothing, and special spaces in the college. For higher education, it increased the amount of study grants and school performance and socio-economical level work. This is an achievement of the largest budget and market for education, reaching 20%, establishing a full-time hours in preschool. Literacy is encouraged for the working class and farmer. Dictatorship, 1973 till 1990. The military government closed some universities and kept only those that were constituted by military authorities. They leave out students and professors for university who were against the military regime and the privatization of education. A creation of the organic constitutional law of education that include duties of the students, duty of the state, and quality of education provision. Pedagogical careers were destabilized weakness, and this is because the conception of the pedagogy in those times changed. During this period, those who entered these careers were the people who had the lowest scores in the PAA and the NEM. In those times, the professor represented a threat to the dictatorship, since the pedagogy possesses knowledge and could inculcate, teach, and promote the democratic culture. Elwin, 1990. Proyecto Enlaces. The purpose of this project was to provide internet connection to municipal and subsidized municipal school and college of the nation, implementation of teams, teacher training, adaptation of the curriculum, and participation of the ministry. Frei Ruiz Tagle, 1994. Creation of the MESE program. Established a new curriculum for elementary and high school education. The state is responsible for the school textbooks. Full school journalment. For higher level of education was created a scholarship like Crédito Solidario, Crédito Universitario, and Crédito Corfo. Ricardo Lagos, 2000. Quality and accountability promote a reform to the Constitution which established the extension of compulsory education to 12 years. Also was created the CAE. Michelle Bachelet, 2006. The government emphasized the coverage of preschool education. The Revolución Pingüina was in those times the center of the national discussion. Regulation framework to ensure the right to quality education for all. Some laws are General Education Law, Preferential School Grant Law, and Quality Insurance System. Piñera, 2010. law on quality and equity. Teaching status is made more flexible and incentives are created for teachers and principals. Law on quality assurance. 2011. Bachelet 2014. The most important contribution of Michelle Bachelet to education was in May 2014, where universal free education was ready. 60% of the most vulnerable students in the country can access to the free education. Sebastián Piñera 2018. The government wants to keep the free education, but only for the 50% of more vulnerable students. Also, the government created a new public institution to manage students' money.
The main purpose of the English curriculum is to give students the necessary skills to use the language as a tool that allows them to access information as well as to solve simple communicative situations of various kinds like in orally and writing situations. It is also an important purpose to progressively promote the development of higher order cognitive skills and develop the ability to appreciate other lifestyles, traditions, and ways of thinking of people around the world. The learning of English as a foreign language has therefore purposes of training and personal growth, as well as instrumental purposes for academic work and the other purposes of the youth world. According to Piaget, students like to solve problems and also the problems that are related to the environment that they have, using the new knowledge that they acquired before. H. Douglas Brown in 2007 said that language teaching must consider some aspects such as intellectual development, the timing, the sense stimulation, the affective factors, and the authentic and significant language. The curricular organization of English in Chilean education is important. In elementary school, the English language education starts in 5th grade. In this grade, it is expected that the students work with the 4 different skills that are listening, writing, speaking, and reading, being the teacher the facilitator to give the knowledge to the student. Also, it is expected that the students could use the 4 skills in an interactive way, without isolating any of those, trying to practice the English language the most as possible. It exists different learning objectives. In this case, on elementary school, the learning objectives were organized into different forms that are the central concept, which are the 4 different skills, the reading, speaking, listening, and writing skills. And after that, we have the attitude, such as show the curiosity and interest about their own reality and the reality of the others. That the students should have a positive attitude, having respect to other people, and having also the motivation to achieve the goals. Additionally, the learning objectives in high school, the students should also develop the 4 skills of the English as a foreign language. It is organized into different forms with the central concepts that include oral communication with the speaking and listening skills, the reading comprehension with the reading skills, and the written expression with the writing skills. Also, the attitudes are included, which are having a positive attitude about themselves, develop a cultural awareness, and show interest and respect other people. Also, show interest about the learning process and progress, and work in a responsible way collaborating to others. And do not forget about the use of the TICs, that the students should use it in a responsible way.
What a teacher should use to teach to the students according to the curriculum is a task-based language teaching. There are tasks made in classes that involve students through situations that prioritize the communication of meaning than the explicit structures. The teacher is viewed as a mentor and facilitator who creates an environment that supports the learning process. And the teacher should consider students as active constructors of meaning and the use of the language, But the reality in some schools is that teachers use mostly traditional methods to teach, like teacher-centered or translation.
An advantage is that the center of the curriculum framework is focused on text-based teaching, but on the other hand, the reality is that the classroom is not like in the curriculum because the teacher used traditional methods. Another advantage is that curriculum has a general view of how teachers must teach the subject in different levels, but the curriculum does not consider the background knowledge that the students have. The last advantage is that government is increasing the variety of different materials and resources, like technological devices, visual aids, and textbooks. But a disadvantage of this is that the educational institution does not have enough resources to teach in a good way to students, and also some teachers has not the capacity to teach because of their English level. Cross-curriculum outcomes are those learning that have a comprehensive and general character, whose achievement is based on the training work of the entire curriculum or its subsets that include more than one sector of specialty. The learning defined in the fundamental objectives refers to knowledge, skills, and attitudes. Knowledge includes concepts, conceptual systems, and information about facts, processes, and operations. These consider knowledge as information and as understanding. The skills refer both to performance and to the performance of procedures based on routine or non-routine process based on search, creativity, and imagination. Attitudes incline people to certain types of actions. For example, the curriculum writes attitudes to inculcate in students regarding personal development, learning, rights, duties as citizens, and their relationship with knowledge and with others. As a group, we think that curriculum is improving through the years according to the needs that students and the society have presented. Educational model or curriculum gives the teachers a new opportunity to provide students the best education, with quality and equity. However, the system is not prepared to provide emotional education and encourage the motivation of students. The curriculum itself does not explain every difference that students and schools have in knowledge and skills.